Hey everybody. So I know a lot of my videos are biblical based, but it's been on my mind a lot to do a money management one, and just like managing money is kind of like a hobby of mine. As I'm driving down the road, a lot of times I just kind of play around with it of managing money, moving money around, this, that, and the other, and I feel like a lot of people could basically manage their money better. So I thought about using a clipboard, or not a clipboard, but a whiteboard or something, but I don't know, I think I might just make it more confusing. So if like this is probably like your second watch through, grab a pencil, grab a piece of paper, and just take notes. So I'm going to separate this into three phases, you could say: a beginner, intermediate, and master. All right, so for the beginners, and I would label anybody a beginner if you're making a wage that you're unhappy with. Okay, if you want to make more, then this is the way you should manage your money. All right, if you're in high school or you're just getting out into the work field, or like I said, you're not happy with the wage that you're making right now, you would like to make more, then this is just go with this phase, the beginner phase. All right, so rule number one: how much money are you making? All right, you need to keep up with this. You need to get your monthly average. That's what I use a lot. And something I didn't say earlier, but like what I'm telling you to do here, it's basically a process that I've created, and just it's worked really well for me ever since I got out of high school. So all right, when you're in this beginner phase, you want to save money like a boss. Okay, you want to put back everything. All right, you want to live as cheaply as possible. Okay, because what you're doing is you're basically, it's like storing up rocket fuel. All right, this money that you're putting up is going to launch you into the intermediate phase. So you don't have to worry about a credit card immediately, but you keep working for 6 months, something like that. You want to really be building your money. You do not want to buy a car while you're in this phase. Okay, a car is a massive mistake. All right, it's just going to drain money out of you. Now, if you have a car, then that's awesome. That's fine. Okay, but don't be like, hey, I'm making, you know, $300-400 a week. Let me go out and get a car. No, that will keep you. That will ground you in the beginner phase. You know, something that I say often is that you should live in the stage under what you're making. Okay, like just throwing numbers out there. If you're making $40,000 a year, you should live like you're making $30,000 a year. Okay, you want your account to always be growing. Okay, so you want to be carpooling. You want to be saving money every area in your life. Okay. I've always lived cheaply on food. Food is a huge thing, okay? And like I can't stress this part enough, okay? Food is a lot larger than what you would think, okay? If you spent $10 a day for 30 days, that'd be $300 a month, okay? If you spent $20 a day for 30 days, well, that doubles it. Now you're paying $600 a month, okay? A lot of people could save a whole lot more money if they just manage their food better. Okay. Now I've always lived cheaply on food. Okay, and because I want to spend my money elsewhere. You know, something you have to consider is your priorities. Okay, and that's something only you can do. What I could expand upon it, but find out what your priorities are. Find out what you want, and well, here's a saying that I once heard. Okay, a man can only have two loves in his life, And when I heard that, I was, in my mid-teens, and I really took it to heart, as if you have a lot of priorities, or what you would label as priorities, okay? If you have a half dozen things you just really like and you really enjoy, well, if you try to get happiness from these half a dozen things, you can't do enough of one to get a real fulfillment from it. Okay, narrow it down to maybe 2, maybe 3. All right, things that you really like to do and enjoy, or goals. Okay, so that you get a really big fulfillment from it. I just recently kept up with my food bill. I went to Walmart and I bought enough for me for 2 weeks. Okay, and I went back to Walmart exactly 2 weeks later. Okay, now my 2 weeks food bill was like just under $120. I think it was $115. And I don't have a calculator on me. I don't really care to do it right now. But if you take that $115 and you divide that by 14 days, I think you'll come out to somewhere around $8.50 a day. All right, so that's really fine for me. That's where I want to be. I've always liked to stay around the $10 mark. I usually just tell people I average $10 a day, because a lot of times on my Saturdays I like to go out to eat. So that kind of raises my my average daily rate. Okay. Enough about that. All right, let's go back into the beginner phase. Save money everywhere you can. Okay, and you don't want to worry about a car payment just yet. You really want to get to the next pay phase before you worry about a car payment. Okay, and again, I'm thinking like a high schooler or something, that's making, $200-300 a week. Just store that money. Just keep storing it. Suffer through, because the more you suffer through, the easier you make it on yourself getting into the next pay phase. Okay, and if there is a job opening to a very large increase in pay, okay, like me personally, when I was in Florida back in, before 2012, and I was working a job, okay, I had in my mind that $300 a week was good pay. Okay, and my dad had bought me a vehicle while I was in high school, so the vehicle was never an issue for me. But I just saved money as best I could, and then, to make a long story short, I moved out to Texas, and I was making $1,000 a week there. All right, and I was saving money all over the place. I mean, really, I was still living like I was living off of the $300 a week, but now I was making $1,000 a week. So I was making a whole lot of money for me, and so that's when you would kind of jump to the intermediate phase, where now I can afford dang near whatever kind of car I want. I mean, I chose a truck, and I ended up paying, I took out a $12,000 loan, and I paid it off in 10 months. Loans and interest rates, I'll tell you what, we'll get into that just to a second. But so moving from the beginner phase to the intermediate phase, what I want you to focus on is just saving money. Just try not to spend anything that you don't need. Okay, it's really like a suffering phase. Okay, but it's going to make your life easier in the next phase. So if the only way for you to get to a better job position is for you to get a vehicle, then go ahead, get the vehicle. Okay, but you really want as much money as you can stored up, because a vehicle can ground you. Okay, payments will keep you in whatever spot you're at. Okay, payments are the devil. All right, so now that we're stepping into the intermediate phase, okay, how are we going to manage our money? All right, I want you to get a credit card. And I know that sounds totally, you know, backwards, okay, from what the modern world tells you. But my credit card has made me money for ever since I've gotten it, okay? Now because we're making more money, okay, the credit card is an, I tell you, let me back up for 1 second. In choosing a credit card, I want you to visit all the sites, okay? I want you to go look at MasterCard. I want you to look at Visa. I want you to look at American Express. And pick the one that has the rewards that you like, okay? Now, I have an American Express, and as I've kind of kept an eye on cards the last several years, I haven't really seen anything better for cash back than the card I have. I used to have an American Express Delta Miles, and it actually did buy me a plane ticket, and it took a lot of money off of another plane ticket. So if flying is your thing, then do the miles, flyer miles, okay? But I would rather just get cash back. So my card is the Blue Cash. No, well, I have that card, but the main card I use is American Express Propel, okay? And I get 1% off of everything, 3% off on fuel, and 2% off on going out to eat. So there is one I would advise for families. It's a Blue Cash Preferred. Okay, there's two Blue Cash cards. One's just a Blue Cash, and one's a Blue Cash Preferred. The difference is on the Blue Cash, 1% off on everything, 3% off on gas, and it could be 2%, but I think it's 3%, and then 3% off on groceries. And I forget the monthly or the yearly annual rate, okay? But because I don't care for that one, go for the Blue Cash Preferred. It's a higher monthly rate, but now you get 1% off everything, 3% off on gas, and 6% off groceries. Now for families, 6% off groceries, that adds up super quick. I mean, just for the sake of easy numbers, for every $100, that's $6 back, you know. And I know families that do like $300 a week, you know, pretty often. So $12 a week you're getting back on groceries, and then it carries on, you know, from week to week. And that's just one area. You know, you're still adding up the cash back off of your points, off of fuel, and just everyday purchases. And on both of those cards, I've kept up with them very solidly for the last several years. And what I found is, what's the word? I can't think of the word right now. But take your annual revenue, okay? If you make $50,000 a year, take 1% of that. All right, $500. That's what the card will probably make you if you use it on everything. And in this intermediate phase, I want you to use the credit card for every possible thing you can, okay? And I also want you to pay it off daily, okay? I do not want you carrying it for any length of time, okay? Now, credit cards, I have the app on my phone. I can pay it off whenever I choose to. And I want you to get in a solid habit of paying it off at least every other day, okay? Because sometimes it takes some time for things to read and change, okay? So at least every other day, all right? I'm not wanting you to use a credit card and it hurts you, okay? A credit card should be beneficial, okay? Now, if you were like, man, I just want to use cash for everything, why use cash when you can get money back by using a credit card? For every $100 you spend in cash, you get nothing back. But for every $100 you spend using your credit card, you get $1 back? What? Duh. Okay? Is there any more argument to be made here? Okay? The credit card should be used wisely, What I mean by that, you don't use the credit card for wants, okay? You use it for your needs, mainly. I mean, wants are going to be fitted in there too, but I want you to be a person that has very few wants, okay? And that, if you are that way, the credit card will never hurt you, and instead it will always be a benefit to you. Now, I want you to get 2 credit cards, okay? That's all you're going to carry in your wallet at all times. One is your main one, and the second one is your backup. I carry an American Express as my main one, and just for instance, I forget the amount I spent through it one year, but it was like I spent $60,000 through my American Express. I use it for everything. Not that I buy a 5-cent piece of bubble gum, but if I buy bubble gum, I use my American Express. A lot of people say that American Express isn't accepted everywhere, or guys, I use my American Express for everything. Like I've said, 9 out of 10 places I go to use it. Okay, there's one card, the Capital One Quicksilver. If it gives any card that would give 1.5% cash back or 2% cash back, would be comparable to my American Express card. So yeah, I'm just pointing out another card you could look into. So you have your main credit card and you have a backup card. Okay, now in this intermediate phase, you're still going to be saving as much as you can, but I also want you to have a list of your expenses. And what I mean by that, hold on just a second, to give you an idea. This is something I doodle with. I'm going to see if it'll show up on here. Okay, it will. Alright, I've always kept this up over the years, playing with it, changing it around. Okay, as you can see, like I've got rent, insurance, phone, food, gas, internet, and tithe. And my bills for the month, and bills, what I consider a bill is like a need, like you have to pay it, okay? As you can see, tithe is in there. I have to pay that, you know? I didn't have a miscellaneous in there because I kind of know myself, I just spend cheaply. But you have to make one of those, okay? That is an absolute necessity. In the beginning phase, you didn't want that many bills. So if you're making $300 a week and you're spending $50 a week, okay, you don't really have to worry about keeping up with your expenses so much. Save, save, save. Now in the intermediate phase, you're going to be accruing some bills. You're going to have a cell phone bill. You're probably going to have a food bill. You're going to have a vehicle. You're going to see, you noticed on mine I didn't have a car payment because my truck's paid for. I don't have any payments. But you're going to have a car payment in there. You're going to have insurance in there. And so while this is a kind of like a money management course, okay? You're going to have all your bills listed, okay? And right beside that, I want you to have your income listed so you can get a really solid idea of money coming in, money going out per month. And if your account is not increasing, okay, at the rate it should, what I mean by that, if your last 4 paychecks, add them all up. So for instance, say it was $1,000 a week. That's $4,000 a month. Now, if your bills are $2,000 a month, then your account should be increasing by $2,000 every month. All right? You want your account to always be increasing. And in this intermediate phase, you have a decision to make. Are you content with the pay you're making, or do you want to make more? Okay, that's going to influence how much struggle you want in your life. Okay, if you want to make more money, then it's the same mentality as going from the beginner to the intermediate. You're going to save, save, save. Okay, now if you're like, you know what, I'm making $70,000 a year. I don't really care to make much more than this. then yeah, you're going to save, but you're not going to be as strict, okay? I'm just saying, don't go broke. Don't spend badly, okay? But if you were wanting to move forward into the master phase, then I want you to suffer through, save money. Don't be happy till you reach the next level. Let's see. Talked about just really important is paying off that credit card. I want you to utilize it. I want it to make you money. Okay, mine generally makes somewhere between $400 and $700 a year. Okay, why would I want to use cash when my credit card makes me that much a year? Okay, but always pay that joker off. And with apps, you know, you can always look at it. You know, it's for the longest time, especially while I was in the beginning phase, I've had a credit card since I was, like 16, I think, and I paid it off every day. You know, I was constantly looking at it. I always knew what my account was in my bank and what the balance was on my credit card. Okay, you want to be extremely conscious of what your account is. For the beginning and intermediate phase, I don't want you to have a savings account. A savings account, honestly, is a waste of money. And I know I'll probably get a lot of funny looks on the opposite side of the screen here. But listen to me. Savings accounts, they create no money at all. And at least this day and time, you're getting a 0.001% interest on your money. It's accruing jack diddly squat. Okay? Now, in the beginning phase, the reason why I don't want you to have a savings account is because you just don't need one. I want you to save money and just throw it all in your main account. Okay? In the intermediate phase, I don't want you to have a savings account because you're going to have a car payment, more than likely. And if you don't have a car payment, if you've got that paid off, then you're probably going to be looking into a house payment. If you have a payment of any type that accrues interest, you do not want a savings account because you are losing money. If I have $5,000 in a savings account and I owe $5,000 on my car payment, whatever your interest rate is going to be, you're on that $5,000 left every month. I'm paying, I don't have any idea what your credit score might be, but anywhere from say 7% interest to 18% interest, depending on your credit score, where you got the car. All right, so I want to keep that figure in mind. 7% to 18% interest is what you're paying somebody else. Your jack diddly squat savings account over there is making you 0.001% interest off of $5,000. You're losing the whole figure of interest that's over here. You're losing that every month. Your savings account is losing you money. Take your savings account, shove it into that car payment. Okay? Reduce your interest rate. I know that when I bought my truck, I figured out what was the interest rate I was paying per month. I was paying $25 to the bank per month for me to keep making payments. I did not want that. So I paid off the truck as quickly as possible so that now $25 a month is staying in my pocket. Okay, it's not going out. The only reason you should have a savings account is if you have no payments that are making interest, okay, or costing you interest. Then yes, I want you to have a savings account. Instead of a savings account, I want you to have, I think it goes by a few different names, like a cushion in your account, okay? I've always had a cushion in my account, and this is a very, very important key, so listen very closely for the next 2 minutes. this cushion needs to be about whatever would supply for you if you lost your job. It could carry you over until you got another job. Now, this is going to depend on your profession. How quickly can you get a job? Now, in my profession, there's like a drought of truck drivers. I mean, I could drop my job today and have a job getting paid within 2 weeks. Okay? So whatever your profession is, you want to have a cushion in your account. Now, for example, myself, in the year 2015, okay, my cushion was $1,500. Everything over $1,500 went to paying off a debt. Okay? And I didn't have a savings account because, like I said, there's no reason. If you have a debt, then there's no reason to have a savings account. So whenever my direct deposit would land, I would say, all right, that's how much I made for this week, and it's going directly towards whatever debt I had. Okay? And so my account balance stayed around $1,500, and I treated $1,500 as zero. Okay? If you do that, then you will never pay an overdraft fee. You never want to keep zero as zero. You always want a cushion. Okay? And over the years, it's changed for me. Like at one point in time in my life, it was $2,500, and really $2,500 is really all I need. Now, if you have no debts, okay, like I guess myself right now, I don't have a truck payment. My truck's paid off. Don't have a house payment. My house, camper, whatever you want to call it, is paid off. So now you want to have a savings account. And I know they accrue crap for interest. The best one I found is American Express. They have a savings, so it's online. I can transfer money from my bank directly to the savings account and back and forth. There's no minimum balance on the savings account. I can withdraw up to 6 times a month, which I've never needed more than that. The most I've ever used, I think, was maybe 4 times in a month. And they have it's like 0.9% interest. So that's, I mean, don't ask me to do the figures on decimals, okay? But if American Express is 0.09 and a bank is 0.001, okay, that's a huge difference, okay? So stick with the highest accruing interest rate you can have, and just store money. Keep your cushion number and keep your balance at that. If your cushion is $2,500, then only keep $2,500 in your bank account, and every dime that's over that $2,500, throw it into savings. Because the thought is, why have money in your bank account when you could be making something with it over an savings account? Okay. The only going from an intermediate to a master is thought process, perspective, mentality. It's goals. It's you're not happy with the money that you're making. You want to become your own boss. Okay, and I think it would be easier for me to give you an example than try to go on explaining this, because find something you like to do and do it like you're a boss. There's a scripture, and it goes something like, do you know a man that's good at his work? He will not be known among men, he will be known among kings. And I've had that verse in the back of my mind ever since I read it, and the people that are really good at what they do, they're known. If you think of Michael Jordan, that man was a boss at what he did, okay, and he made millions and millions off of it. Think of Bill Gates, think of Warren Buffett. He was good at investing. That's what he did. And if you study Warren Buffett, the Joker works. You know, I've heard a quote sometime back that was, the average millionaire works like a minimum of 80 hours a week. You know, there's another scripture that says, work your job in the morning and work your business in the afternoon. You know, Christians should be the hardest working people out of the bunch, okay? Because we know verses like, don't work unto men as if you're working unto men. Work as if you're working unto God, okay? So when I go to work, I'm not just thinking of a man as my boss. I'm thinking God is watching me. As I'm doing my job, I want to do it in a way that God would be pleased. You know, I'm trying to make God happy when I go to work. So, yeah, I'm going to be, you know, I'm not trying to be the hardest worker there, to be competitive with, or to showboat or anything prideful. I'm trying to do something pleasing to God. Okay? I want to do my work as if God is watching me. All right? I don't care about man. But it's just they'll like you for it. Okay, let me say that. Now, I'm going to use an example of something I've thought of in trucking. Okay? Because in trucking, you have your company drivers, and that's where I fall under right now. I drive for the company. Okay? If I wanted more in life, okay, I could constantly grow for as much as I wanted to. Okay? That would, see, I'm in the intermediate phase myself, but I don't really have a desire to go to what I would consider the master phase. The master phase would say, save up my money, okay, buy my own truck, screen went dead, and take the money I make from that truck, save my money, buy another truck, put a driver in that truck, save my money from both those trucks, buy another truck, put a driver in that truck. And that's how a lot of companies, truck driving companies, are made. They start out small and they just grow. That's a business mentality. You know, while growing up, I've always thought there was two kinds of people. There were employees and employers. You know, or that's kind of what I categorize people as. There's a mentality difference, okay? And for another example on this mindset difference, I once heard Jared Rodenizer. He told me this saying. He had heard it somewhere. But poor people think in days, you know, or weeks. Okay, all they can see to is that next paycheck. Okay, rich people think in months. All right, but millionaires think in years. You have to project your thought. I mean, you have to be imaginative. Okay, you have to say, if I save here, 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 and here, if I cut this out, cut this back, and I save up here, here, and here, I can save this much a week, this much a month, this much a year, and I can achieve this goal. Okay, you have to be a forward thinker like that if you want to live a stress-free life. And that was the main goal of this money management, whatever you want to call it, video. I live a stress-free life. Money does not keep me up from, I'm about to go broke. What am I going to do with money? Because I live as cheaply as I can, and my account grows. Okay, and I want more people to be like that. But a lot of people don't understand a lot of savings accounts. A lot of times savings account is hurting a person more than it's benefiting a person. 401ks fall under the same thing from the 401ks that I've seen. Okay, maybe there's some more out there that I don't understand all the ins and outs of, but with the company that I was working for before, I looked into the 401k, I sat down, looked at the math. The only reason you should do a 401k, in my opinion, is if you're making a lot of money. Okay, like 150,000 plus. All right, do a 401k. You're making way more money than what you need, and you could achieve even say, growing businesses while still putting money on the side in a 401k, then go ahead and do it. But if you're a person that is kind of content in this the intermediate phase, you're making anywhere from I'd say 70,000, maybe 60,000 to up in the early 100,000s. Just stay away from 401ks while you have debt, okay? Because again, it's the same principle. You're losing money. A 401k I looked at, it gave me 30% on the money that I put in. So if I put in $10, it put in $3. That sounds like a lot, but if I can't pull the money for 30 years, that money that made me $3 now, and I can't pull that $3 till 30 years from now, that money has depreciated. Okay, I have lost money on my 401k. Okay, whereas if I would have taken the money from the 401k, put it in myself, okay, or put it towards an investment like a house. A house doesn't depreciate. A house appreciates. So let a house be your 401k. And then when you get to 60 or 70, when you're tired of working, sell that awesome house, buy a smaller house, or I don't know, whatever you want to do, move. But I want people to think, okay? Think. Line out all your bills. Line out all your income. And at the end of the month, or you say, all right, I'm making $4,000 a month, and my bills, they're only costing me $2,000 a month. And you get to the end of the month, and you didn't make a dime. So you say, I made $4,000, I spent $4,000. Where did that money go? That's also a benefit of the credit card. You can go there and add up everything you spent for the month. You can lay eyes on every place you purchase something, and you can say, oh, I forgot about that. That was a one-time thing. That's not going to affect my next month's growth. Or, wow, I'm spending a lot of money on going out to eat, or buying way too many Starbucks, So you want to be, I don't know, all this type of thinking is kind of second nature to me, but just kind of, I want you to be mindful of it, Back in the day when I was a lot more mindful of it, I always knew how much money was in my account, and I always knew how much money was going out, and I still do it to a degree. When I go into town and I go to the movies, when I leave the movies, I'm like, all right, I bought a $3 movie ticket, I bought an $8 popcorn. Okay, I went out to eat. I went out to Olive Garden, spent $10 there. I kind of keep a tally, and I don't want to go too high. So I know it might have been a little confusing, just coming from me, but I really hope it helps. I think a lot of people could benefit from just sitting down, looking at their income, how much money's coming in, how much money's going out, and you moving their money and utilizing it a whole lot better. Because like I said, for a lot of people, a savings account is a waste of money, and I want you to make the most of what you can and sleep peacefully, a stress-free life. If you're making $4,000 a month, don't have your outgoing expenses $3,500. It's way too close, okay? Something's going to break, and then you're going to start going backwards in money, all right? That's something you got to figure out. You got to figure out what you want your cushion to be. And a lot of times, it takes a few weeks to build up that cushion. So you got to struggle through for a few weeks, just throwing your whole check in there, Get it up to $2,500. Get it up to $5,000. If you're a person that's making $2,000 a month, okay, then have your cushion set at $2,000. All right, so if you lost a job, you know that you could pay all of your expenses for at least a month. If you can't find a job in a month, I'm sorry, but you're lazy, okay? You're not even trying. I know that if I want a job, I could find one, I mean, immediately. I've never struggled finding a job. I mean, geez, the place I'm working now, I called them up, and they were like, when can you get over here? So I know that any day of the week I can get a job, but still I carry a pretty high cushion for my own self, because heck, why not? So I believe I've covered everything. I hope it helps you. God bless. Have a great day. Night, evening, whatever.